This is Red Carpet Fly's News on the Fly podcast, bringing you unique and interesting entertainment, celebrity, and luxury news. Before we get started, you know what to do. Like, follow, and subscribe to Red Carpet Fly, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single News on the Fly episode. I just want to take this opportunity to welcome all the new listeners. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And shout out to all my day ones, my A1s that have been rocking with me since this podcast started. Before we get into the headlines, I want to take some time out to acknowledge some of our fallen stars. This past weekend, Jason David Frank, the original member of Power Rangers, passed away. He played the Green Ranger and the White Ranger on the 90s hit show Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Frank was a professionally trained MMA brawler who was well-versed in everything from Taekwondo, Muay Thai, Judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and others. He fought professionally from 2008 to 2010. His cause of death was self-deletion due to YouTube regulations. I can't say the exact word, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And he is survived by his 4 children. Power Rangers was such a staple after-school show, so it was a huge loss hearing this news. If you or someone you know is struggling or in a crisis, help is available. Call or text 988 or go to 988lifeline.org. Also, I want to send out condolences to the friends and family of the victims of the Club Q mass shooting in Colorado Springs. For those of you who are unaware, this past weekend, a gunman came into Club Q and opened fire and shot and killed 5 people and injured 18 people. My heart goes out to the families and the friends of the victims. I wish I could say this was just a freak mass shooting, but this is like the 3rd or 4th mass shooting that has happened in the past week, with the Walmart shooting just happening last night in Chesapeake, Virginia. I don't know how many people have to die before we have stricter gun regulations. I believe in the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms, but we have to come up with better legislation because too many people are dying in these senseless shootings. In happier news, congratulations to all the AMA winners this past weekend. A bunch of artists went home with little statues this past Sunday. Congrats to Lionel Richie for receiving the Icon Award and Taylor Swift for receiving Artist of the Year. Also, congrats to Kendrick Lamar for Favorite Male Hip Hop Artist and Favorite Hip Hop Album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Beyonce also won Favorite Female R&B Artist and Favorite R&B Album with her album Renaissance. Anywho, congrats to everyone who won on Sunday. So, let's talk about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie has been in the news a lot lately, mainly because he posted a link to a video called Hebrew to Negroes or something like that, and people felt it was anti-Semitic. Well, Kyrie is making news again, but this time it's for donating over $100,000 to the families of Shanquella Robinson and UVA shooting victim Devin Chandler. According to the Jasmine brand, NBA star Kyrie Irving is doing what he can to relieve the financial burdens of a few parents in mourning. The 30-year-old basketball star reportedly donated a total of $65,000 to a GoFundMe account for Shanquella Robinson and another $50,000 to the University of Virginia student Devin Chandler. Both Robinson and Chandler had recently lost their lives due to senseless acts of violence. Now, I'm not sure if Kyrie did this because he genuinely cares or if he's trying to shift the narrative surrounding him and move past his current situation, but I always like to talk about the bigger story, and Kyrie being a celebrity and seeing that this is a blog about celebrities, luxury, and entertainment, he has given me the opportunity to talk about the bigger story of Devin Chandler and, in particular, Shanquella Robinson. Shout out to all the bloggers that have been covering the story because I really hadn't heard anything about this until the bigger black blogger outlets started reporting on it, and now I'm seeing some national news outlets reporting on this story as well. So for those of you that don't know, the parents of 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson are searching for answers after their daughter died in Mexico while vacationing with friends. Initially, the individuals Robinson traveled with claimed that she had passed away from alcohol poisoning. However, suspicion steadily mounted as the Charlotte natives' loved ones began poking holes into the story and asking questions. So a little backstory on this situation. Apparently, Shanquella went on vacation in Mexico with friends, and I'm using the term friends lightly. Several different media outlets are reporting that they were more like social acquaintances. Anyway, at some point during the trip, Shanquella dies and her friends tell her mom that she died from alcohol poisoning, which we are finding out is not true. A video has surfaced online of a fight breaking out between Shanquella and another girl on a trip, and Shanquella is getting beat down by this girl while other girls are standing around on the sidelines, and someone or another girl is recording the fight on their phone. Shanquella never fights back, and through a series of punches given to her by the other girl, she becomes unresponsive. Also, the police report has released that Shanquella died not because of alcohol poisoning, but because she succumbed to her injuries from that fight, where she received a broken neck and a spinal cord injury. So this story is important for a lot of reasons. One, because violence against Black women often get underreported or not reported at all in the media. So the fact that this story has piqued the attention of news outlets and some celebrities shows the power of bloggers and YouTubers, but also sheds light on the atrocities that are happening to Black women. And two, this is a cautionary tale for all of us to evaluate our friendship group. Like I previously mentioned, I don't think Shanquella was close friends with any of these girls or any of these people on this trip. Not everyone is your friend, and you really have to have a discerning eye with who you surround yourself with. Some people don't have your best interests in mind, and it looks like the people Shanquella went on a trip with weren't her friends at all. Y'all check out your friend group and weed people out that don't build you up or make you happy. They ain't nothing but friendship leeches and add nothing of value to your friendship. So please weed these people out, and especially don't travel with these individuals. Sending condolences and prayers to both the Robinson and Chandler families. So, in the wake of the Twitter fiasco, many celebrities and businesses have left Twitter since Elon Musk has taken over. Well, Black Twitter is now joining the ranks and maybe possibly looking for a new home. That new home may be Black Planet, reports Gossip. Y'all remember Black Planet? Ooh, I got in a lot of trouble on Black Planet back in the day, like a lot of trouble. There's a whole story behind it, which I'll share with you one day. It's kind of complicated because it deals with an airman and being a military brat. It's a whole thing. But anywho, Black people are trying to figure out where to go in case Twitter is the Titanic speeding toward a huge Elon Musk-shaped iceberg. There have already been several memes created about this possible migration, and you know, when it becomes a meme, it's only a matter of time before it becomes a trend and then a movement. Some users have tweeted, "Dear Black Twitter, drop those Black Planet usernames. We about to dip back into that pool, right?" Another Twitter user tweeted, "Looks like we're about to take the party back to Black Planet, #Black Twitter." And I had to share this one. Hold up, Black Planet trying to spin the block? I'm with it. What do you guys think about this? Would you be willing to reactivate your Black Planet accounts? You already know I'm down, being such an avid user of the platform back in the day. If you use Black Planet, drop your username in the comments. Mine was 2sweet7. Oh my gosh, I remember having and creating usernames that you could never use on a resume or applications. Jeez, we've come a long way. Okay, last story. Let me tell you guys, I have so much to discuss with you, but I don't want this podcast to be extra long, so I'm gonna wrap it up. So, we haven't talked luxury in a while. Have y'all been watching what's been going on with museums lately? Well, climate activists have had their boots on the necks of museums, and they are not letting up. Climate activists have been coming into museums and vandalizing priceless artworks and pieces as a protest to climate change. It's called eco-vandalism, and it's done to raise awareness about climate change. So far, these activists have damaged a Monet painting that is worth $110 million. They have also ruined a Van Gogh painting with cans of tomato soup, and members of the Just Stop Oil have glued themselves to the frame of the Da Vinci's Last Supper at London's Royal Academy of Arts. Yo, they wildin' out. While sympathizing with the activists' concerns about climate change, some experts worry that the protesters' actions in the future could be irreparable and that they are not helping their cause but hurting it. Sally Hickerson, an art historian at the University of Golfin in Canada, stated, "Does it convince people? It's really hard to convince people when people are blind to see what's happening around the planet. I don't know what would convince any of these people," she said. I just think we live right now in a period of time when people have very entrenched ideas about things. Matthew Jesse Jackson, an art history professor at the University of Chicago, said art does not occupy a prominent space in people's lives, as do movies, TV, TikTok, but doubted whether the protesters' action would make more people concerned with climate change as their goal. If it's a painting in a museum, most people would say that's a work of art that shouldn't be vandalized, Jackson said. "I think engaging with artworks in a non-standard way is highly unlikely to bring a great deal of attention to the problem." So I have thoughts about this. So if I learned anything from the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020 and protests around the world, is that no one really cares about what you're talking about or what you're saying until money is on the line, which is why some, not all protesters, vandalize, break, and burn down property. 9 times out of 10, the properties have insurance, so they can recoup the losses, but like my mother loves to say, romance without finance is a nuisance, which in translation means all this protesting with no financial repercussions doesn't really move the needle or issue. It's not until there's some financial skin in the game that people, the powers that be, really start listening to you. There were numerous Black Lives Matter protests where nothing was damaged or broken, and those barely made a blip in the news. It wasn't until there were fires and vandalism when people started to take notice. Now, I say all of this not to say that Black Lives Matter condoned this type of behavior, because in fact they didn't, and they highly discouraged it. And again, not all protesters were doing this, but I do get it. These art historians don't think these type of protests aren't effective. I would argue they are. They got the attention of the news. That's why we're talking about it right now. I want to be clear that I do not condone vandalizing or burning down stores and places of business, but I do understand the reason behind it and the sentiment. What do you guys think about this? Do you think these eco-activists are being effective with this type of protest? Comment below. We have come a long way from Planeteers. Remember? We're the Planeteers. You can be one too, because saving our planet is the thing to do. Y'all don't know about that. Look, let me not get started. Anyways, that's it for today, you guys. If you'd like to receive text notifications of when I post News on the Fly episodes or my celebrity red carpet interviews, please send a text to 917-502-4379 and say, "I want to get fly text." Once subscribed, you will start receiving text messages receiving a News on the Fly episode or celebrity interviews. Also, if you have a business, product, service, YouTube channel, or social media account that you would like for me to promote on my channel, please email redcarpetfly@alexi@redcarpetfly.com to get rates for advertising. We're growing, guys. You can also find this podcast on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeart Radio podcast platforms. Just search for News on the Fly podcast. Lastly, please like, follow, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel, Red Carpet Fly, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Red Carpet Fly. And have a very happy Thanksgiving, and always stay fly.